Hi everyone and welcome back. Now let's talk about the keyset based pagination. So what is going to change when we are doing a keyset pagination? The only thing is here we are also going to provide the start ID. Okay, so the keyset pagination is something like this. First let me talk about that. So what we are going to do is we are just going to pass another start ID. Okay, and based on that we will filter the result set, and then you can apply the offset. Okay, I want limit is this and offset is this. What it is doing is it is just giving you the required data set you need. Okay, because this where query will filter out your initial result set. Okay, so for doing that we will just introduce one more column, which is the start ID in our DTO. So here we are getting create, and this is my search. So we can just add one more parameter, which is start ID. So this is, let's say, required true, because required true, and this is of type number, and this is start ID, and minimum value should be 1 because we have a numeric primary key. So we can actually pass this. Now what it will change? It will change nothing. It is just passing us a start ID, and start ID we will receive in our post service. The only thing is we have to tweak the code a little bit. We have to add a where condition. So here we have the search post. So here we can also get the start ID. Now if the start ID is there, right, so we have to add one more condition here. If you are really passing the start ID, then my query will become, there is one more end condition I have to add, query end, and here I need to check, have you set the query? I mean, this is like when you build things manually, if query is already set, okay, query will always be there, so we can actually add it here only. And ID should be greater than the start ID. That is the logic we can add. So in the where condition, so if start ID is there and where ID is greater than start ID, yeah, this is the additional logic we have to add. So that means, like, if you are initially getting 10 posts, okay, fetch the last post ID, get the last post ID and pass it in the second query. If you are getting the huge result set, okay, 100 and 1000, then this is how you can improve your query. And in this, the whole section, we haven't talked about how to do it in the typeorm way. I mean, we are writing the manual query, that is fine. So I will write one helper function, and I can write that there. So you can also use typeorm repository methods to get all these things. Okay, but when you have to write a complex query where you need all these things, JSON to be record set, then I find typeorm is little bit not up to date, where you can actually call these custom functions, and you have to move to these different utility functions. I mean, you have to write a raw query and use the query builder to execute that query and get the result set out of it. Okay, but for the key set, this is the only addition you have to do in the query. If the start ID is there, you will add the where condition. Okay, where ID is greater than start ID, it will filter out the result set, and it will give you the count also. Okay, so whatever the count you are getting, that will be based on this condition, because we are writing raw query, so we don't have to struggle much on the key set pagination. Okay, so this is the part 3, and we are done with the pagination. I will just push this code, you guys can have a look. This is the same code base like nestjs, node.js with the typeorm and the postgres. We have a single entity. We run the db sync. We got the entity created. Now we are doing the search on top of it. Okay, thanks everyone.